Warning, the following video has flashing lights and also includes content that may be deemed inappropriate for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Jeff Messenger, you have again found your way into the darkness of the Fox Den as we attempt another Dogman and Werewolf expedition into the madness. Yet please, I must attend to something. Absolutely delicious, and thank you for allowing myself the proper time to replenish lost nutrients. And now that you have set me free, let's get ready to take a walk into the madness.
Stood up. I said, oh my god, it's a werewolf, and everybody in the car freaked out.
My creatures of the night. Yes, once again, you are tuning in to another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here in the Fox Den. Yes, it is time for LordeStarfox and JJ Messenger to try and figure out what is happening with missing people and very bizarre mannerisms. We again will set up the late night fire as we burn the timber into the midnight hours in an attempt to bring closure to this mysterious case. JJ, how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay, Ken. How are you?
Busy. Glad you're doing well, but I just been grinding away and watching Team USA play some hockey. What about you, man?
Oh, just getting prepared to shovel out the house, the driveway, the walkway. Just fun.
Yeah, you gotta love that, right? But I mean, it could be worse. You could be a crispy critter, like I like to say about some of my friends in the warmer environments. A bunch of these girls will be like, hey, look, sitting by the pool. Sure, but fast forward in like 20 years, they're gonna look like a raisin. Up here in the Northeast, we're frozen for the most of points in time, so it's pretty much like going into cryotherapy.
Never mind the North American Dogman project. It'll be the North American Raisin Woman.
Yes, it's so bad. Honestly, I mean, I understand why sun is supposedly good for you, but in very small amounts. I tend to enjoy nighttime and the moon more. But yes, I get vitamin D from almond milk and other things that I do consume. Yeah, never been too much of a bright, sunny day. I mean, I used to, when I modeled an act, would tan sometimes outside, but I don't even really like going to the beach. Personally, who likes sand all in their feet and their clothes? It's just everywhere. It drives me ballistic.
I like hiking. I like all the hiking trails, and I like hiking in the cool air, obviously. When it's hot and oppressive, it's not a pleasant experience.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most pleasant experience, but I will say, obviously, being on a hiking adventure pursued by insane people or something unknown or a giant predator that we do know of would be no fun either.
No. In the Appalachian Trail, they have stories. They have a lot of stories from the Appalachian Trail.
Have you ever personally been there?
I've done very small segments, with like a 1 or 2 night camp out.
Interesting. I have recently heard about some pretty bizarre stuff, and we're here to, like I said, talk about this missing persons case. Yet, when you hear of things like the Tennessee Wild Man, it really falls into line as to what I was saying with differences between Sasquatch, meaning some might be ape, some might be more Neanderthal or primitive human based. There's actually a lot of encounters supposedly where those two don't like each other. I've heard some encounters recently of people claiming that they see what looks like a deformed man with a long beard that definitely looks like a person, but he smells like garbage, is always seen consuming an unalived animal. Have you heard of that particular description?
I've heard of that description on various YouTube channels and websites. Yeah. And there's suspicious videos that people have of like matted hair, like very large beings with matted hair.
Interesting. I'm just so confused about this stench aspect, meaning every predator that I know, you don't smell it until it's too late, meaning it would be downwind per se, correct, right? But in all these cases, per se, of Dogman and Bigfoot, and same thing with this wild man, reeking of rotting flesh, reeking of a dumpster on a nice hot summer day down in Boston, smells that don't make sense unless they are wanting you to smell that, because as far as I know, again, any predator doesn't just let you pick up their scent until it's too late, meaning maybe you're smelling its rotting breath as it's crushing your skull or such. But how could these things sneak up on anything? I'm just baffled. Okay, if something had been unalived and this garbage man, wild smelling guy picked it up and such and carried it out to eat it, okay. But if you literally smell like rotten, dirty butt cheeks, how is an animal not going to smell that?
Right. I would imagine any cryptid with a decent level of intelligence would bathe, would wash themselves down before a hunt. I know Ernie Davio's encounter, those Sasquatch were on a hunt, and he didn't report any smell at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said they appeared well groomed. So
that's what I'm saying. That would make sense, correct? I mean, it's no different than I don't hunt. I love animals, but I understand, people will put scents on themselves, etc., to mask that because of how dominant a animal's smell is. All right, meaning the neighborhood dog across the street that's one of my friends can smell my scent, even though I shower all the time. I take care of myself. I'd like to consider myself cleanly, right? Can smell when I'm coming around probably a decent distance away. She'll be just sitting there wagging her tail down at the end of the driveway. And her owner would be like, Lily, what are you barking at? Well, no one's there. And then a couple minutes later, I come around the corner and she's like, oh, that's who she was waiting for and barking at. That's what I'm saying. So their sense of smell, they would have to know they stunk. A person knows they stink. I guess you become accustomed or accumulated to being stinky, maybe, or is a choice. Not sure. Not my cup of swag. But I'm just saying, animals have senses, all right? And a nasty, pungent aroma usually isn't a good survival technique or a good hunting technique, which really makes me confused how this stinky wild man is successful at any sort of hunting or taking people.
I'm curious. This is a wild and crazy theory, but perhaps some of the females are intentionally stinking up as a repellent.
Ugh, yeah. Jeez, I know that like pheromone sense and things when it comes to animals. I mean, it's no different than people in general. People have terrible body odors, unfortunately. I think we've all come across that before. Well, those animal pheromone chips, oh my goodness gracious. Those are barf city. The only reason I know is my grandfather used to be a veterinarian, and he was one of the first veterinarians in New England. He used to go all around, do all kinds of things. At a point in time, he had to do something with deer pheromone. Not really sure why. I was 11, but I just remember, unfortunately, one of the people there thinking it was funny to shove it in my face
Oh,
as they were setting it up. Yeah, what the frig, man.
oh, that's nasty.
That's what I'm saying. It's just bizarre. I'm just confused a little bit and trying to find the logic on the whole stench aspect because, again, like I said, I'm sure if you and I were sitting right here by a grizzly bear, you could probably smell them. But again, they're smart. They're going to put themselves downwind. You're not going to smell that until it's too late. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And same thing with a crocodile. Sure, its breath and such probably stinks horribly, but the thing is, inside of the water it's hiding in, you're not going to smell that because it's going to mask its scent inside of the swampy, blurry type water, and then boom, too late. I mean, I don't know if I sent it to you, but I sent it to somebody else I know for sure. Giant baboon for the area, looked like a yellow baboon, probably was the dominant male. I don't know what he was thinking. Too cocky. This huge crocodile, whap, right out of the water. Got him. He tries to fight back for a couple seconds. No, good night. Again,
Oh,
this baboon was obviously around long enough to become big like it was. He and other baboons are smart, but that's all it takes. 1 second to let your guard down. Obviously, if he was able to have smelled or sensed that crocodile, unless he was purposely trying to dispose of himself, he would not have been whapped like that.
I wonder hypothetically if certain cryptids are like submerging into swampy areas during the day. It might keep them cool in a hot environment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know how swamp water is. Oh,
Yes.
God.
Well, also too, even when a dog's wet and stinky, I've had friends that don't bathe their dogs or whatever, or you pet someone's dog, you smell your hands after, you're like, yo, that's nasty. But I didn't smell that until I smelled my own hands after. It's not like I smelled this dog from a half mile away or something, like some of these people are claiming with these terrible aromas of the wild man and such. Bizarre for sure is all I'm saying. A lot of animals don't even really have smells too much. My squirrel doesn't really smell. I mean, I bathe her. She can become smelly if she gets into something. All right. But I mean, dogs, like I said, a wet smell. Sure. And mainly it's not because she necessarily stinks. It's just because she gets dirty. I want to make sure she doesn't have any, mites on her or things that I need to have one of my friends look into to help her out. Yet cats, they don't really seem to smell. I mean, sure, if you put your face in front of their mouth, but if you just smell like kitty fur, it just seems like soft and such. Whereas horses, I don't know, have like a kind of aroma to them as well, but it's not like a stink. It's
Right.
weird, man. This doesn't make logical sense. Not that any of this has to make logical sense, but I try to look at things logically. And to have a dirty smell to you that is that dominant, unless you're trying to let people know, it just doesn't seem to make sense. It's not a good hunting tactic. It just doesn't fall into line with being a successful predator unless you're trying to purposely let these people know to install fear or something. But this wild man, it doesn't seem like he's too smart. They say like his face is all deformed and such. He smells like a dirty dumpster. I mean, what are we missing here?
It could be a subspecies or a product of mutation, and they don't have the grooming skills. They're not taking care of themselves.
Wow. Well, I guess to anybody out there, before we dive into what we're going to dive into, make sure if you smell something that is heinous, you get out of there because, as far as I know, and the majority of the people I've spoken to, there's no known animals that stink like that. It's apparently falling down to these supposed feral people, unknown entities or creatures. Bizarre stuff, dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a report up where I live in Massachusetts over the border. Uh, a friend of mine smelled a very strong human BO smell come upon him in the woods. Like normal human body odor, but like times 10.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Ugh, so brutal. Well, again, everyone out there, just be aware of that. Could be just an unalived animal sitting there rotting. Could be somebody's garbage they've thrown out in the forest, or it could be something that's coming to consume you. Interesting, but yet bizarre and terrifying, which leads us into something else that falls into all of these as well. Anyone can check out this full analysis as to what happened. I'm going to graze over it, but if you check out the edmontonjournal.com is where I'm presenting what we are going to touch base on right now. Yet it has been published in other places. This one is specifically by Johnny Wakefield, and he published this article August 23rd, 2018. And unfortunately, this is covering a missing woman that, well, we really don't know what happened to her. Unfortunately, there was a bizarre set of circumstances seemingly that occurred to her. This woman's name is Stephanie Stewart. The highlight of this article says a pot of boiling water and a smear of blood. 12 years later, fresh clues sought in Stephanie Stewart's disappearance. And meaning for 12 years, people were stumped, or people that potentially had the proper information on the topic were not speaking or capable of speaking. Meaning recently I've been told, I guess, this park ranger could be lying. Everyone can lie. I mean, they are a park ranger. It's as far as I'm going to side with credibility. I mean, they're a park ranger, like I said, but again, they can lie. I can't disprove or prove what they're saying, yet they claim there are chains of emails that are sent around in between park rangers, more or less, updated it as to, these strange cryptid sightings, and also that they tend to go out when the park is closed or very late at night to quote unquote gather tracks, and that they're well aware of these reports. Again, though, unless I can speak to other rangers that this individual is referring to verify their story, I don't know. Interesting, though.
Yeah, that's something that happens. Even where I live, the state officials that work for the Water Commission who are securing access roads to a reservoir, one of them was having repeated Sasquatch encounters with the glowing eyes coming from the bush. And it was unnerving him so much that he couldn't secure this access road late at night anymore. He just stopped doing that particular duty.
Jeez. I can only imagine just hearing that and finishing up with Stephanie's case here. Something is occurring, and this goes really far back. Apparently, on August 26th, 2006, coworkers and friends were worried when Stephanie did not call and confirm her safety or whereabouts specifically with anybody. Okay, that's not very good. A team of around 100 people, including the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is, I don't really know how to make it an equivalent here, but they are high up and they deal with these type of things up in Canada, begin a search and rescue. From all around the province, people are coming in to try and search an area near the Athabasca Fire Lookout Tower where 70-year-old Stewart was last seen. Pause for a second. Geez, to everyone out there, all right, I understand we all want to continue to do the things we want to do in life that make us happy. And if being out in the wilderness and such makes you happy, just go with somebody, though. I'm not saying at 70 you still can't take care of yourself, but that is not a very smart decision, unfortunately, for a 70-year-old woman to be out in the middle of the forest by herself.
Unfortunately, no, it ended up with her disappearance. Did you see the photograph of the fire tower in the cabin? No, it's a very nice cabin, very beautiful. I would imagine it was a very serene environment for her, but what type of danger was lurking? What type of danger was there that she was unaware of?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you said as well that it was an enjoyable spot. And yeah, I did see those. It does seem enjoyable. And according to friends of her during the fire season, which I do not know the exact extent of the Canadian fire season, if people would like to know that, I'm sure it's pretty easily accessible. And she would live at the isolated lookout post about 25 kilometers north of Hinton, working as a seasonal fire spotter for the Provincial Environment Ministry. Again, time out though. Is there no regard for someone's safety? I mean, this seems to be people that are in charge of fire spotting. Is putting a 70-year-old woman or 70-year-old anybody in a fire tower in the middle of the forest a smart decision? That doesn't seem logical to me.
Yeah, when I think of 70-year-old people, not to dismiss the elderly because I'm
Yes.
getting there myself, but when I think of 70-year-old people, they usually have arthritis and they have various medical issues that need attention, and the being out like Crocodile Dundee out there in the outback or something. No, no, I mean, she might have been an exceptionally healthy woman. I don't know.
Even if you're healthy, like you were saying, I don't even think it has anything necessarily to do fully with the age on the health aspect, meaning anybody could get hurt. I could be having to walk down this tower when it was icy, slip and fall, twist my knee, then I can't climb back up the tower. I can't crawl anywhere, and I could be unalived. That's all. And now, when you're putting somebody at the age of 70, I don't consider that necessarily elderly whatsoever. Yet, again, though, as you said, logically and scientifically, our bones and things aren't as strong as when we were younger. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it one of the number one causes of people that are unalived over like 60 or something is hip breaks when they fall?
Yes, yes, that's why all the medical alert badges and all that technology. Probably everyone remembers that commercial from decades ago. I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much the actual number one threat for the elderly. And if you fall wrong, you could shatter a hip, and a shattered hip could end up pretty much unaliving your situation.
Yes. All these things so far are just red flags in my eyes and just carelessness. The way she's described is as a slight woman, just 5 feet 2 and 105 pounds. She had blue eyes and chin length gray hair. She was, according to officials, an extremely experienced outdoors woman. Yeah, again, I mean, even Survivor Man says that he's extremely experienced, but it doesn't matter. And also, like Cody Lundeen says, how many experienced expert mountain climbers are unalived expertly climbing a mountains every year, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. No matter how good you are, no matter how experienced you are, some freaky mishap or accident could happen so easily.
Yes, she was extremely active and a very successful outdoors woman as she was younger, yet coworkers became worried when she failed to call in the morning weather report as earlier stated, August 26, 2006. Everyone began trying to contact her several times before reporting her missing. No one got a response, hence the reason the term missing has been used. An employee sent to check on Stewart found the cabin empty. There was a boiling pot of water on the stove and some blood on the stairs leading up to the cabin. Several blankets, pillows, and a gold woman's analog watch were missing from her room. That seems like something that is interesting. Police said at the time they don't believe Stewart fell victim to an animal attack. Okay, that is something, again, as far as I know, unless werewolves and animals are into taking things, what the heck do they have use for a watch or such? As this proceeds, they really have no new leads, though. They still have, to this point, no idea, but they think something might be involved with other people that have been missing, like in 1983, Shelley Ann Basco, a 16-year-old Hilton girl, went missing. And you have Deanna McNeil, a 44-year-old woman, last seen on November 28, 2013, in the same area. They are all listed as potential homicides. They now have a higher type of security measures and people checking in on people that are working, yet that's it. I mean, it doesn't really seem like there was any sort of groundbreaking new leads. How do you feel about all this, man?
It sounds like a unresolved crime scene to me. I mean, that's terrible. That's horrible. I feel horrible for the family and for everyone that knew her, and of course, her. That's just a terrible situation. I mean, here it is, 2025, and I guess it's going to be one of those unsolved crimes that gets thrown in a manila folder somewhere, and that's that.
Creepy as heck. As far as I was able to dive into this at first, it's pretty bizarre, but as you're able to look into it a little bit more, like you said, it doesn't seem animal or cryptid based. I could be incorrect, all right, meaning there could be cases out there that I have not had a chance to speak to people or document where a dogman or a werewolf stole somebody's jewelry or such. I can't refute that. I can't say it hasn't occurred. I can say I've never heard of that. Yet the fact that there didn't seem really to be some sort of struggle in the pot of boiling water, they said, correct, was found, meaning, wait a second, how long was that water boiling?
Yeah, it would have boiled out.
Huh. That almost seems like maybe someone that might have been responsible was hanging out there still and then happened to be alerted that deputies or such were coming and then they just left. But again, why would they leave the blood splatter, man? What the heck? That seems so bizarre. It makes me think maybe she was alive longer than people thought, even though she wasn't responding or such. Maybe there was something going on with the phone, or maybe somebody cut the phone line or such as this was all unfolding. Unfortunately, maybe the rescue team got there just after this all happened.
Yeah, something very fishy going on. It sounds like someone took her body. I don't think she just wandered into the forest.
No, could she have slipped and fallen, hit her head, and then got confused and walked out to the forest? Yes. I would hope people on the scene there, when I look at the picture, was there snow around, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, that's not too, wow, far fetched to think. All right. Maybe the things that were missing were on her person. All right. Well, what if she was setting up the boiling water? She slipped and fell, hit her head, was completely confused with what happens in a concussion, and wanders off. Could happen. Or what about this? She is setting up her pot, boiling the water, and then something spooks her or attacks her so quick and carries her off that that's all that's left is that blood stain.
Now, the blood stain was on steps, I believe.
Yes.
That could indicate that she might have been frantically, running up or down those steps.
Ooh. As we're talking about this a little bit more, there is too much still unanswered, in my opinion, for them to just claim this off as a general case of someone being unalived, meaning another person did this. Sure, technically, at face value, with the things missing, that would solidify person. All right. And also, you could say these other women that went missing in that area as well could be person. Yet, it would probably be easier to explain off as a person than a ravaging beast that no one has been able to fully explain yet, that has been doing these unalivings, which makes me wonder here the potential aspects of, sure, we're being told some of it, but also I'll give you an example. The same people that covered this, the RCMP, are the same ones that told Bart's best friend, the pilot, and also Bart Schleisler's family, that he was consumed by bears and wolves, and that was that. Yet when they went back, the friends and family, they proceeded to find his inflatable raft further off down from his campsite, and then found his bow up against a tree, blood all over these goggles, and also small pieces of bone. Yet no bears or wolves had any sort of sign in their scat of human predation. Okay, again, let's just keep that in mind, that the same people that are saying that this was caused by a person are the same people that told Bart's family he was consumed by predators. Something's wrong here, man.
Canines, vultures, bears, they're not going to be neat. It's
Nope.
not going to be like there's no remnants of the body left over. It's more like it's an ugly scene where things are half chewed or half consumed, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like them going into an acid bath and completely disappearing.
Yeah, it's so bizarre because same thing with Bart. I mean, something ambushed him. His bow was up against a tree. You could see his butt cheek marked, more or less, is what they said, on a coat, basically, or his backpack that he was sitting on, probably calling in moose or such, because that was what he was up there for. He was never able to shoot a bow at all. There was no sign of a struggle. I mean, it literally looked like something just ripped him up, maybe from when he was sitting down, and unalived him, because all there was blood on his goggles, a couple pieces of his shirt, and then what was left of some small vertebrae, meaning something disposed of him so quickly, but it didn't leave a mess either, like you said. Whereas if that was a grizzly bear, I mean, unfortunately, it still would have unalived him, but he would have put up a heck of a fight. You would have probably found a wounded bear somewhere nearby. There would be the ground all ripped up, a huge sign of struggle. Yet in Bart's case, and also in this case with Stephanie, nothing has been being found disturbed. It's like something hit them so quick and took them off, which is so interesting because there's another case down in Georgia where these people were working the power lines, and the third guy back just vanished, and all they ever saw was some change and things that were in his pocket, meaning it looked like something hit him so fast, picked him up and ran off. And then they found his boot and a piece of his work jacket stuck in a barbed wire fence. That was it. They never found him. Later on, like months in advancement, The farmer that owned the property happened to be down near the swamp on his land and found the other boot. Again, something took that person so fast that there was no sign of struggle. Again, it doesn't make sense. Why would just there be a blood stain on the steps? If someone was doing this, per se, people, wouldn't they be worried about cleaning up everything? And if they unalived her on the stairs or watched her fall, hit her head when they shocked her, whatever, there's blood right there. They're going to see that. Okay. Why would that be left there? But then they would take her body. And then why would they just take some of the other belongings, but then nothing else? Seemingly, it's almost like those belongings were on her, like the watch and such. And then something took her then, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that cabin that she was boiling water in, they probably had bleach and stuff in that cabin. They could have easily wiped up that blood stain. It's like, why didn't they?
Honestly, my friend, as I'm digging through my brain and we do start to tie this up, I unfortunately know people such as the Zodiac guy. I'm not even going to say his name or give him clout, and other people like that get to a point of getting bored with what they're doing, and then they start to almost troll or purposely leave extra pieces of evidence at crime scenes, or start, like he did, sending in letters to officials, more or less being like, hey, decipher this. If
Oh, yes. Yeah.
same person's involved with the other women that have been missing throughout that time frame. But again, though, 2006 to 1988, that would mean it most likely would have had to have been somebody themselves that's remotely younger and fit, could be male or female. I don't know. Isn't that a pretty long stretch of a time frame? 1988 to 2006 to be the same individual? I mean, it could be, but again, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is a long time frame. And you're talking about remote locations.
That are hard to get to, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, someone could have studied her and knew she was there for those points in time, because I mean, she had been doing it for quite a long time, and unfortunately, as you said, a woman by herself and now an elderly woman, man, to sickos out there is an easier target. Anybody by themselves, but you know how people are, they prey on the weaker. It could be that somebody could have left that blood stain to basically try to troll. But I just know that the RCMP, as I stated, seemed to not really fully care about the Bart case and had a way different story than his family and others that went back. And this is just what we're being told. It's from the Edmonton Journal, which means obviously they still have to play by what's okay or they're going to be allowed to publish. Really don't know. I would have to say that you and I would legit have to talk to her family and such, but I really don't even know if that matters. I don't know if they're going to be able to potentially solve this, because this was quite a long time ago. Her family's not going to know. Her co-workers aren't going to know anything else. Everyone's just going to know what the RCMP told everybody, because they were the ones that went there to investigate it. I think they're the only ones that know the truth about it.
I suppose it's safe to assume that there were no estranged husbands or extremely volatile situations that she was in. That would have probably been advertised in the article, that there were suspects, that there were investigations. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense. It's so many more questions, which is why I really wanted to talk about this case with you tonight, because from the surface, and I was trying to play the devil's advocate, it looks like, sure, could be human on human violence. But yet, as we dove into it more and started asking questions that anyone should have been asking, all right, you can't just take things at face value. Every question I asked is questions I would have asked if I was investigating that or if I was family, etc. Things are just interesting, that's all. I mean, boiling water still, as far as I know, like you said, water would be boiled up, which seems like it almost had just occurred. Why is there just one blood splatter on the stairs? Why are some things missing? Sure, people could have robbed her, but again, like we had said, she could have had all those things on as well. It just doesn't add up. There's so many of these cases out there like this happening in the national forest. I do encourage yourself and everybody else, just be careful. There are unfortunately psychotic people out there. There are natural predators and things. But the more I dive into this, I honestly think that people are the ones that we should really be paying attention to out there because, again, humans inflict the most violence of any animal species that's ever stepped foot, as far as we know, on this planet. All right, meaning predators and things, yes, are violent, but they are doing it for a purpose. We tend to do violence out of humor and entertainment, meaning as we tie this up, just look at the gladiators and such. That was considered entertainment as you went and watched somebody, well, be unalived in brutal mannerisms, and you're cheering and drinking wine and yay. All right. Well, as far as I know, Tyrannosaurus Rexes and Siberian tigers don't purposely do that. I mean, they go and eat what it is that they need to consume. Reason I state that is every time we head out to the wilderness and want to get away or be in remote locations, whether we don't want to be around people or we enjoy occupations that are presenting that to us, at the end of the day, you just got to 100%, and I don't even like dealing in 100s, and 1000%. There we go. Bring something to protect yourself and just be aware, okay? Time and time again, you see these documentaries where they just cover these people that are horrible people that are very deep and remote in the forest, that are preying on people after studying locations, how long so-and-so is alone, etc. And they're even playing into cases where they're blaming it on cryptids. All right, we'll talk about it another time, but you have a documentary where some guy claims that either Bigfoot or hairy, like, canine creatures, I don't even know what this dude was on, some not good stuff, took away his girlfriend or whatever that he was hanging out with, but this guy was the known tweaker, maniac. Okay, so was it really Dogman and Bigfoot that took this girl, or was it this tweaker that unalived her because he's psychotic and then blamed it on the cryptids? It's just food for thought, you know?
Yeah. We have that very successful documentary series about the farmers who were massacred.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all being pinned on the Bigfoot. And no. The way the documentary ended up, it was most likely 99%
Cartel, right?
Yeah, cartel, human criminal activity.
Yep. Again, hit it right on the head there, my friend. People just don't be afraid to do things that make you happy, but also just be aware people can be terrible. Yes, people can be amazing too, but for every good one, you're going to run into crappy people as well. Just be aware of that. Enjoy your time. Doesn't mean you can't go out in nature because you could have a psycho living next door to you, all right? Yeah, just pay attention and be aware of those things. Well, is there anything else you'd like to touch base on tonight, JJ?
No, that was kind of a heavy subject tonight, but it's a good thing to discuss, so people need to be vigilant and always take care of themselves.
Yes, excellent, my friend. I do appreciate you, and that is something that we try to do here. Is it cryptid? Is it human? We may never know, but was she unalived and is she missing? That we do know, which means something did happen. And every year you have anywhere from 1,100 to 2,400 people that are going missing. Around 5% are ever found. Who or what is taking them? It's a mixture of a lot of things. But again, something is happening. People are going missing near cave systems, in national forests. Be aware, that's all. Hopefully sooner than later, you can try to figure out what's going on and just prepare yourself. But I do need to let JJ Messenger get back to things he needs to attend to. He's a busy guy as well, but make sure to go over and check out his podcast, which will be up in the description. You can also check out our playlist we have of previous and future content coming out. And no worries, Mr. Messenger is a bi-weekly host. He'll be back sooner and then later. Yet this will be the conclusion of the meeting of the Midnight Society for the early hours of the morning. Thanks for hanging out tonight, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much.
My creatures, ooh, I do adore every single one of you. And thank you for popping in tonight to hang out with us. Please like, comment, subscribe, feed, share. Yes, make the algorithm realize.